Oregon, a land of adventure and awe, a treasure.
That was a great take.
Majestic and hidden. A state that calls out for exploration and experience. The journey of discovery begins now. From KGW, this is Grants Getaways.
Hi there, I'm Grant McComey, your host for KGW's Grants Getaways, as we discover Oregon's people, places, and outdoor adventures. You know, when I was a boy, I fell in love with long distance. Not the telephone kind, but the dust-filled lanes and back roads that enticed a small-town kid to explore his home region now more than 50 years ago. Along the way, I made a discovery of treasure that's measured in the memories of so many interesting people, fascinating places, and intriguing outdoor adventures. These days, my greatest pleasure comes from sharing with you each week. And this week on Grants Getaways, we join a group who've discovered that when the tide goes out, the dinner table is set with a wild, edible dining bonanza. And powerful human stories can be found in small, quiet places. We visit a time capsule at the Camwa Chong State Park, where a unique chapter of the Oregon story comes to life. And across the Oregon landscape, we really get away, back in time nearly 30 million years, with rockhounds who uncover secrets in the soil. But first, we join a master angler, Vu Tran, a refugee from war who explores Oregon rivers with a rod and reel for the chance to discover big fish in new home waters.
Good morning, friends. How are you guys? Good morning.
On any given weekday, the youngsters step aboard Vu Tran's number 9002 bus
You guys all excited?
and ride to school.
All right, friends, let's find a seat quickly, please. Good job back there.
Tran calls Route 160 a dream job in the Beaverton School District.
Let's use our library voices, please, in the back.
Considers himself a teacher aboard a rolling classroom.
I treat them like they're my own kids a lot, is what I do, because I would do anything to protect them if I'm on a school bus.
It is also the best work he's ever had because it gives back to his community.
We're a gateway to their success. We're sometimes the first adult they see and the last adult they see. And what we say to them can set a tone for their day, and how we end their day can set their tone when they're at home with mom and dad.
Have a good morning, friends. Bye. Bye, friends. Bye. Have a good morning. I'll see you guys in the afternoon, okay?
Setting the tone is important to a man whose childhood was filled with uncertainty. A refugee family who fled their homeland and landed in Oregon in '79.
To escape from the communism during the war, they were bounced around everywhere during the war in Vietnam. My mom's family lost their family business, lost everything, just needed to get out with communists. Took over, lost everything.
Vu credits his mom and dad for keeping everything together for the large family. They worked several jobs at once to find and build their American dream, beginning with education.
River's looking great. Should be fantastic.
Vu found something else along the way, a passion for the Oregon outdoors.
Ooh, I like that one right there.
Especially new home waters and the secrets they hold.
Oh, there's a fish. Just hanging out in that soft water over there. Nice rosy fish. A little spent. Another wild steelhead. This time of the year, you're gonna find a lot of wild fish. Top corner lip. There we go. And there he goes to go off and make more babies.
Vu was bit by the fishing bug as a kid, thanks to an uncle who took him trout fishing at Lost Lake near Spruce Run Campground. And then Vu discovered bigger fish that live in his new home waters.
They're called the fish of 1,000 casts, and I found out pretty early in my career that it takes a lot to get a steelhead to bite sometimes. It's a lot of work.
Angling success led to obsession. Vu is addicted to steelhead. His pictures from the last 20 years prove it.
How can you not smile when you're out here fishing? You can come down Highway 6 and there's 5 different rivers to fish. I can go down Highway 26 and pick 4 or 5 different rivers. We have so many choices. You can't put a price on that.
Ready for our main speaker tonight?
My name is Vu Tran. I've been fishing for steelhead about 15 years.
Nor a price on an earned reputation as one of the region's finest anglers and respected teachers.
This is one of the most popular methods here is float fishing.
Vu speaks about fishing every chance he gets, and his enthusiastic lectures find few empty seats. Tonight, the Tualatin chapter of Northwest Steelheaders.
The next thing I'm going to ask you guys is, why do you fish? Love being outdoors, right there. That's me. I love being outdoors, right? It's about seeing the colors, being in God's country. That's what it's about for me. When I first came here in America, people helped our family through everything. Getting on our feet, finding our first apartment. To me, it's giving back to the community, helping out people, seeing people smile. You can't put a price on that when you see somebody smiling.
It just looks really fishy in there today.
Oh, there's a fish. I thought it was bottom.
Vu's journey has not been easy. There have been many twists and turns along his trail to reach new home waters. But he insists one thing is certain.
There were a lot of American soldiers who sacrificed their life, a lot of people who sacrificed their life to try to bring freedom to the Vietnamese community and the refugees. I don't want to let them down, the men and women who sacrificed for my roots, because I was given the opportunity to have the American dream, and I'm going to seize it, and I'm going to make sure that I make everyone proud.
See if we can pop him off here. Get him out. Oh, there he goes. That was a wild steelhead there. I want to let that one go. Luckily it popped off there, and he'll swim off to go make some babies.
Stay with us. We join a group who've discovered that when the tide goes out, a dinner table is set for a wild edible food bonanza when Grants Getaways continues.
All right, so follow me down.
John Kalis
This is the spot.
is a nutritionist and wild food forager.
It is slick.
He likes to say that when the tide goes out, his dinner table's set.
All the seaweed that we're going to eat later, we're going to eat raw. Fresh, they're perfectly good to eat.
Today he leads friends eager to tap into his expertise across a low-tide estuary.
That's where all the flavor is.
Tastes like a piece of lettuce, really salty lettuce.
Kayla says there are more than 40 different seaweeds growing in this small corner of Tillamook Bay, like angel wing kelp.
Leafy material here, and then you've got this midrib that goes along the center, and we'll all get to taste a little bit of it.
Armed with scissors and plastic bags, each person is allowed to gather 1 gallon of seaweed per day.
This particular one I call teriyaki weed because it tastes like beef and it adds great flavor to whatever you're eating.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is good.
It's got a spice to it. Kalis fell in love with exploring for wild edibles as a boy. The passion blossomed and led him to a lifetime of study and a PhD in nutrition. He knows more than seaweeds, all things edible, like butter clams.
Try and find a bunch of holes that are all lined up and you make a trench right next to them. You can grab like 5 or 6 clams with one trench. You want to lift underneath the clam rather than try and pull it from the top.
It doesn't take long. Each clammer must have a shellfish license and dig their own daily limit of 20 butter clams. Charla Oxy makes it look easy.
I got 3 since you were gone. Wow, you get
nice one.
You get them really easy.
That's for sure. Soon it's time to head for the forest, where more springtime edibles are easy to find, like leafy and lemony cascade sorrel, or salmonberry blossoms, or lady fern fiddleheads.
Yeah, this is perfect. About 4 inches long or so. That's as good as it gets right there.
Kalis is the first to caution that safety's critical when collecting and eating Oregon's wild edibles. That means taking a class or reading the right book, like his, Edible Wild Plants, From the Dirt to the Plate.
The wonderful thing is, until you've gotten everything together, you don't know what you have to work with.
I like to think the best is yet to come.
Yes, well, the eating is always good. Wild foods are just traditional foods that we've lost touch with.
All hands on deck as Kalis directs a wild edible feast. Items are sorted, cleaned, and chopped.
The seaweed salad.
And a forest green salad.
Big leaf maple flowers.
Over there's a chopped clam stir fry.
And then we can put
The fiddlehead fern. We have the clams in there. I have red pepper, yellow pepper. And we put nettles, stinging nettles are in there.
Totally harmless once they're cooked.
Here's the centerpiece. Clam chowder with onions, potatoes, fiddlehead ferns, and a bowl full of butter clams.
When you open the shell, that shell is filled with clam. There's no wasted space in there. So when you get a big clam, you know you're getting a huge amount of food.
Kalis calls many wild ingredients forgotten foods, plants that have been largely lost to time.
Native Americans gathered all year long. They would process, store most of it. And all year long, they would be eating from the diversity of the food storage. And that's how they got a complete diet.
Judging from the results, this diet is a hit with the crowd.
very good. The clam chowder turned out good. I can't remember how it's I love the seaweed salad with the sesame ginger dressing. That was delicious.
There isn't anything here I didn't like and I wouldn't eat multiple times again if given the opportunity. It was so good. And it was really fun going out and getting it.
Kalis enjoys making meals fun, but he admits his real goal is to get people closer to the planet so they'll take better care of it.
If you know that you're gathering your food from Mother Nature and you see people spraying all over the place, that should be of concern to you. The more that people realize that food just doesn't come from the supermarket, they'll be more protective of other land. We'll just be better off altogether.
Stay with us. Powerful human stories can be found in small, quiet places. We visit a time capsule of sorts called the Camwa Chong State Park, where Oregon's past comes to life when Grants Getaways continues. There is a timeless feeling to some places in Oregon's high desert. Not just the landscape, but with imagination, you'll also find it on back roads or neighborhood streets where life passes by as it did a century ago.
Chinatown was all around us. The laundries were all along here, and then over in the corner was a brothel and a bar. And then we have Camwa Chong here.
Camwa Chong, or Golden Flower of Prosperity.
Welcome to Camwa Chong. It's going to be a little bit dark, so we'll wait just a second for your eyes to adjust.
What comes into clear view inside this tiny, dim-lit shop was a big business that once flourished on the western frontier. The year is 1887. Two young immigrants, Ing He and Lung On, bought the Camwa Chong.
They had baking powder, flour, sugar, rice, beans. Anything that you needed here, it usually came right through the general store.
They would run it as a general store and herbal medicine shop at a time when 2,000 Chinese laborers worked in the region. Camwa Chong became the social center of their American home.
This was a bachelor society. Hardly any Chinese women were out here. 2,000 Chinese, we know of 3 women. This is where you could come. You could find a job. Lung On served as a labor contractor. You could have letters written home. A lot of the miners were illiterate. You could come gamble, smoke, drink, just, have a nice relaxing time.
You could also find a cure for what ailed you from an assortment of herbs and exotics, perhaps using turtle shell or bat wings or a lizard.
You could flake that off into your herbal medicine if you needed it for a certain something. He would grind this up. He would add some more herbs.
Remarkable cures that worked. Doc Hay became the most famous herbal medicine doctor between Seattle and San Francisco. He served both Chinese and white communities. More remarkable, the shop was locked up for 20 years, and when it reopened in 1969, perfectly preserved artifacts were revealed.
If you look at the Del Monte can, it really hasn't changed in the way of advertising at all.
From Wheaties, the breakfast of champions, to marshmallows sealed in a can. The stone and brick structure protected the building's contents from blistering heat or frigid cold.
John Day is a very dry climate, and so we don't have the humidity. That really preserved a lot of things. Also, the low light. When the lights are turned off in here, there's basically no light.
Christy Sweet, Oregon State Park's curator, says we know much about the place from the records.
Looks as though it was written yesterday.
It does.
You see, the two men kept everything. 20,000 sheets of letters, accounts, and correspondence.
Kind of a snapshot of the history of the Chinese in Oregon. The letters and the records go everywhere, so we kind of learning about the Chinese in John Day, what they did here, and also what happened in the community and the Chinese in different areas of the state.
Other storage boxes reveal that the two men had a savvy business side as well.
Long On was known for bootlegging during Prohibition, and when the building was kind of rediscovered, they found 96 bottles of this underneath his floorboards. And
What is it?
this
It's
is all
whiskey.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
So we know that this is it's a private stash, perhaps the stash for the
Could this be part of their
select
popularity?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you make of that?
I think it's a great story. I think it shows their personalities. You know, they're gonna flaunt the law a little bit and keep their whiskey.
That's a good story.
And like everything else in this wonderful state park time capsule, all of it is perfectly preserved. Like the story of the unusual men who ran a business that became a legend.
These guys changed the community. You know, they made the community what it is today. You know, initially they were much the outsiders and really became part of the community, accepted, and helped to settle this area. They were well loved, and I think it's a part of history that John Day has embraced. This is part of their heritage, and they want to celebrate it, and this is we preserve it through here, through Camwa Chong.
Stay with us. We really get away from it all near Sweet Home, Oregon. Back in time, 30 million years, with Rockhounds who uncover secrets in the soil. When Grants Getaways continues. You could call Brad Newport's backhoe a time machine as it crawls across his Hollywood ranch near Sweet Home, Oregon.
Everybody has their own hobby. Some people it's fishing, hunting, crafts, whatever it is.
Each chunk of dirt that Newport's machine lifts out of the ground contains a piece of Oregon prehistory.
Your best day of racing and you take first place, you know, that's this place right here. That's why I love it so much, because I know that everybody that comes out here is going to have a great time. You just can't help it if you're a rockhound.
These rockhounds are members of the Tualatin Valley Gem Club. Each has come to Newport's ranch for a different reason. Some say discovery.
Is this a piece of bark or the tree itself?
No, this is actually a piece of the tree itself, because you can see the rings where the tree was there.
Others say value.
Every time you find something, it's a treasure. And just learning about how they were made just amazes me too.
While others argue it's all about beauty.
They're glassy, they take a polish, they shine, and especially petrified wood has so much character.
Newport's Hollywood Ranch doesn't have cows, sheep, or horses, but it does have something more wonderful.
Cedar, maple, alder, oak, fir, hemlock, any type of tree you could think of pretty much.
An ancient collection of wood that washed up on these Cascade Mountain foothills millions of years ago, back when Sweet Home, Oregon was oceanfront. So far, 58 different tree species have been identified from down deep.
Very amazing.
Rockhounds must shovel, scrape, and wipe 30 million years of thick mud. Geologist Taylor Hunt says back then, volcanic activity was common across the Oregon landscape. Think of it as Mount St. Helens times 100.
Roughly 30 million years ago, huge caldera eruptions. And that velocity, like Mount St. Helens, ripped the trees up, branches, logs, everything, and bring it this way.
Most of the petrified wood are small fragments from the past. But every now and then, someone gets lucky, like John Van Loo.
And I was just about ready to leave. I was like, no, I'm just going to dig this out.
He found an intact petrified branch.
You should ask my wife what I said. I was like, are you kidding me? So, oh yeah, I was pretty happy. You know, my first full log I've ever found.
All of the Rockhounds agree that the mystery of their unique adventures keeps them coming back.
The camaraderie, getting with the other people, and everybody gets a chance to share their finds that way, so it makes it interesting for everybody.
Is there a bit of a treasure hunt mentality, though?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you always know you're going to be the one to come home with a big piece. Or
Newport adds that rockhounding is a blood sport. Once it's in your blood, it never ever leaves.
Finding it myself. I'm sorry. I mean, I like it when other people find it, but even if my son or daughter find it, I still want to find it more. You know, it's just the rockhound in me.
We have all the details, directions, and the contact information for all the segments in this week's show on the KGW website, so be sure to check it out. Finally, it has always been my hope that Grants Getaways helps people swell a bit with pride for all there is to see and do in our corner of the world. I want you to get out there and explore the great Oregon outdoors and let Grants Getaways be your guide. For KGW and Grants Getaways, I'm Grant McComey.
Grants Getaways on KGW is sponsored by Astoria Brewing Company, England Marine and Industrial Supply, and Fishhawk Fisheries.